I really enjoy reading memoirs. Not lots of them, just a few good ones. And when they really take hold, I gobble them up. Really like, cherry pie, tart cherry pie with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. I just really enjoy them. Um, and a memoir is often described as a record of events, one's personal life and experiences written by someone who has intimate knowledge of them and based on one's own personal observations or reflections. So it strikes me that the practice of reflective meditation is akin to writing and reading our own memoir. We meditate, then we journal our experience and we reflect upon it. Even though we're focused on what happened in the meditation, we really do learn to develop our reflections are developed on our experience. And these years of journal writing, of the practice of writing our lives, writing our meditation, they're like markers that are traces of ourselves at different points in time and different times in our practice. And if I ever go back and read some, which occasionally I do, or when they pop out in the middle of the day, um, they remind me of pieces of myself. And they have this kind of sense of being tied to me, but not me, because I've changed by the time I reread them. And I have different thoughts and feelings. And so it's interesting that our practice would produce a kind of memoir much in line with the Buddhist teachings of anatta, of not self or on the self, how we talk about the self in Buddhism. And I'm going to read a little passage that Nelly and I wrote from the book of reflective meditation, Cultivating Kindness and Curiosity in the Buddhist teachings. And we say that it's a difficult teaching to talk about anatta without creating misconceptions or reducing the meaning. The common translation as not self is somewhat misleading. Although it's a mouthful, let's consider anatta as no enduring or unchanging self. Our sense of ourself is fluid. It changes over time and in different situations, from decade to decade, year to year, day to day, minute to minute. There's no sense of self that's always accessible. There's no sense of self that arises separate from conditions. We're formed and reformed by the conditions. And we need healthy self structures to live within the world. So the memoir I'm reading, I'm jumping now to another memoir. That was our talking about anatta, but in the memoir I'm reading currently, although I'm not reading, I'm actually trying to listen to a memoir, which is interesting, not to use the sense doors of my eyes to take in the information, but to hear the author talk. Um, it's entitled Becoming Myself by Irv Yalom. And he's a psychiatrist that's made a career of investigating the lives and experience of others. And in this memoir, he turns back the investigation onto himself and his own therapeutic eye of his life in review. And it comes across like an invitation for me to do the same, to look at my own life and to compare and contrast, and to see what my meaning is in comparison to what he's making meaning of his life. And, um, you know, I've always had a kind of judgment from Dr. Yalom because he's been dubbed the leader of group therapy. And I remember back in, I guess it was 2010, 2012, I went back into group therapy because of some of the things I read in his writings that I didn't like. I thought, oh, that's too stodgy. It's too um, uh, definite. It's too something. Lots of things, And I went back into group therapy just so that I could have the experience of what it was like for myself, and also in teaching reflective meditation, really kind of discerning, oh, when we teach groups, how is this not group therapy? How is this not just a support group? And really making some of those distinctions about teaching dharma in groups, where we're talking about our lives and our memoirs and all of our personal stuff. So in this memoir, and this is what memoirs do, I think, they open up a whole nother world of a person. And that I got to learn, oh, he traveled to India and sat a retreat with Goenka. And he had a lot of similar feelings that I did when I sat a retreat with Goenka, although he got to sit with him in person and I got a big video. It was quite a different experience. But um, and then also, he wasn't just the founder of group therapy, and founder isn't quite the right word, but leader of or innovator in group therapy. Um, he also made a contribution of existential therapy to the field. And that was interesting because this ties up to Buddhism for me, which is something I often missed in therapy, which is talking about life and death and why are we here and what's it all about types of questions. So he talks about the idea that we are born alone and we die alone. And this is not just loneliness. There's certain things that we do alone in this life, and those are two of them. Even though I think I was born with my mother, because I know we came together, but I didn't have knowledge of that. I still, was born in a world of people, but alone. Somebody caught me in their arms. So he tells a tale, and the one other thing about memoirs is there's often your stories come out. You start to talk about your experience through stories, and he recounts a story, and it's called the Everyman Tale. And I hadn't heard it before, but it's an ancient story about a man that's visited by the angel of death, and the angel informs him that his time has come and he must make the journey to face judgment. So the man pleads that could he please be allowed to take someone with him? He doesn't want to go alone. And the angel says, sure, if you can find someone willing to go with you. And I just thought, okay. And the rest of the story talks about how he tried to get his friends and, his unsuccessful attempts. One of his cousins, for example, says, oh, I can't go because I have a cramp in my toe. I won't be able to make the journey. But finally, in this tale, because it's a Christian tale, he does find someone to accompany him, and that is not another being, but it's good deeds. And that this is the comforting part of the tale, is that that is what we will take with us on our lonely journey, alone journey to death. But again, I'm kind of thinking about this in my own views, and having been raised Christian, that is a comforting tale to me. But then, what if I don't feel like I've done good deeds? What do I do with all the mixture of things at the end of life? So I went to a quote by Ram Dass, which is, "We are all just walking each other home," and that just felt, oh, okay. I can go there. So I'm going to just leave us with the idea that we are creating memories together, that we're writing our memoirs, um, how you're becoming yourself, ourselves, how that's so much a part of our experience. And just a quick question, how would you start your memoir today? What would be your opening line? So we'll end here with the Dharma talk. And as usual, you can take the prompt into your meditation or not.